Hi, hello. Hi, Elaine. So glad to see you here. Good morning. I'm excited to create this project and show you how easy it is to create something like this. So it's all good. Yeah, oh good. You can hear me and see me. And I'm gonna get right to it because truthfully, like there's no point on doing anything else. Like people can just join whenever they want to. I just want to look at the chat and not have to look sideways. So how do I look at this? Trying to find myself here. Oh, there I am. Okay, so it might be just, there you go. I can see you now. I'm gonna close my door. For those of you who are watching later, you can like always follow up with me later. That's good. Nothing weird happening like it happened last week. Last week it was really, really weird. So we're gonna be creating this. And we're going to be using napkins today. And I love using napkins in my projects. This is a napkin that I got from Nikki's store. And I'm really excited because, I mean, the nice thing about doing napkins, you can also like print butterflies out of a paper. But the nice thing about doing napkins is that you don't have to draw. You don't have to draw them. You can just use them. And they're super easy and they go on so smoothly. And it's important to separate them. So what I'm going to do is before I start, I'm going to separate, make sure you only have the one layer, which is the napkin layer. And this is this piece I'm going to save for another time. I actually just used the other side. So this napkin had like a double, right? So I used it for this side, for this one, and I'm going to create another one the same way. And I used this piece to just create texture on another project, which was good. So, and the nice thing about it, I don't even have to cut around it. I can just glue it this way because napkin goes on so easily onto things. Let's see if I want to make sure there's no other layer here and that it was just the one layer. Like sometimes can't tell, right? So I want to make sure that I didn't just like separate. No, I think this is it. Okay, good. So let's pick another page. Okay, since you're the only one here, Lane, you're gonna get a sneak peek of something. Where is it now? Where is the sneak peek? Okay, so this is the one. Sneak peek. It's hard to see what it is even. Something that's coming up. Sneak peek of. Well, it was quick. Just quick. Just showing you something, okay? Just because. All right. Oh, maybe I'll work here. Or do I want to work? What I like about this journal is you can work anywhere you want. So, oh, hi, Leanne. Leanne is here. She made it. Oh, maybe I'll work. Maybe I'll work in this one. I don't know. No, I like the other one better. It's thank you. Okay, so I think I like this other side better. Okay, there we go. I think we're gonna work on this one here because I like it that it opens straight. So literally what I did, no joke, is just like glue it on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around it a little bit. Just because I want it on two separate sides. So if you don't have napkins with butterflies, which I got at Nikki's store, she might have more, I don't know. But if you don't have napkins, you can always you cut out papers out of like the internet. Now, let me just see for a second. How did I do this one? 1 second. I don't even remember where it is. I want to know. So I used the, yeah, so I did this one the other way around. So I'm going to do this one backwards. I think it's the opposite image. So that's okay. That's why it's good. Well, the other thing I want to remove is this wording. I don't know what this is. Jet thing. I don't need it here. I guess it's like the brand or something. Same with this one. Don't need the word here. And if you're using paper, I would suggest to cut around it. Oh, look at this. I do think that there's another layer here. There we go. Just make sure. I thought there wasn't, but yes, there is. Oh, that's good. Perfect. It's better to remove the second layer so you can use it thinner. It's much easier to use when it's thinner. You can always create, you guys can always create later. It's sometimes just good to watch, and then you can ask questions, and then you can go and create afterwards. I know, Elaine, that your stuff is all packed up, so you can create now. And Leanne is probably late for you, so. Okay, so I'm saving these for another project, which is the one like you saw there. And I'm going to glue this. Yay, all right. So to do that, I used, what did I use? Where is it? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I use matte medium. You can use soft gel. Basically anything goes. You just have to be very careful. The napkins tend to rip. So I am usually careful with that. And I'm just going to add a smooth layer. Oopsie. Let's add it on both sides. Yeah. So I just like to just add thin layers on things, and then you have to seal it, of course. So what I was going to show you today, I mean, gluing napkins is the easy part. Okay, just have to be careful with them, but it's the easy part of the project. Is we're going to draw some trees today. Some birch trees. I think they're called birch. Could be wrong, but I think they're called birch. Or something like that. You know, the ones that have like those lines on them. If you get a little bit of a dent, not dent, but you know, like a crease or something, that's okay. We know that that's part of texture, and we're okay with that. We're okay with texture. Okay. And if you see some pink here, it's probably because I had some from another page, from the other page I was creating, there was pink in the background. Now, what I like about napkins, and I do collect some, is that what I like about napkins is that they go pretty smoothly, almost like tissue paper, because they're so thin. And Leanne, you can't be behind. There's barely anything. I haven't done anything. I literally just separated the napkin. That was all I did. And then started gluing it. Just when you do it, just make sure you're really being careful with the napkin. You know what I mean? Because it's really fragile. Especially because we're removing so many of the layers like that. Like the 3 layers that it has, we remove 2 of them. We just get the top layer, which is great. So the important thing is also to seal it. And as you can see, I'm going very, very, very slow through it because I have ripped the napkins so many times. It's like the easiest thing to rip. So I want to make sure that I don't. So there we go. That was pretty easy to do. And I'm just like, you can barely see the paper because it's white. Obviously, if it was a different color, it would be different. Let's add some more on this side because I've used it all on the other side. And you want it to be as smooth as possible, especially the gel, just because otherwise you're going to get a lot of bumps. And bumps are okay, but to flatten those bumps, you might rip the napkin. So creases are better than bumps because bumps make everything really wet. That means that you have a lot of glue in that area, if that makes sense. So Make sure all your edges are glued down. If you don't have enough, add yourself some more, lift up. See, if it's not glued properly, it's a problem. And if it rips, don't stress about it. It's not a big deal. Everything can be fixed because we're going to be drawing on things too, right? So anything can be fixed. I don't purposely want to rip anything, but I could do that to show you, but I don't think I want to do that. And if you're doing the soft gel, don't put too much gel at a time. Kind of add, kind of like put a little bit and then add more and so forth. I do prefer the matte over gloss, but you could use gloss as well. It's not a big deal. Yay. So there we go. I think I've covered it all. I hope I did. I can't always tell because it's just so small and fragile. But using a brush helps. So there we go. Now we're going to dry. Gives you time to catch up, Leanne. So Elaine, when are you guys moving? I'm going to wait until she answers me. Okay, so drying this is really important. It's really important to make sure that it's fully dried, okay? And for the next step, obviously I want to use gesso. Well, maybe not obviously, but I want to use gesso. And there's two options here. You could use clear gesso because that will help to prime the area but not cover the butterfly. And I might consider doing that in the center, but I actually think I use white gesso in the other one because I wanted to kind of cover the edges. Oh, wow, okay. I didn't know that you were moving so soon because you've been talking about this for a while. If you guys are watching this, it's you like later on, you can skip the drying time, obviously, right? But you can skip this part of the video. Like to check if something is wet, you can tell by just touching it. It will get like sticky to your fingers or will feel cold, even though you're heating it up. Okay, so now we're going to use gesso. And as I said, I want to show you like the two different ways. So for example, you could use a little bit of clear gesso. This is just clear gesso in different packaging. Sorry, oh, this one always drips so much, even though I have it facing up. So what I like about the clear gesso, hold on, this is not brushes. Brush is not good. Let me get a different brush. What I like about the clear gesso is that it dries clear. So you can cover the part where the butterfly is and not have to worry about it, you know, losing all the color, all the beautiful color and everything that you have. But the problem with the clear gesso is the same thing that why it's good. I can cover this part, no problem, but you can still see kind of the edges of my napkin, and that part that clear gesso cannot cover. So you have two options. You can just use white gesso and water it down if you don't have clear gesso to put it in this way. So you could have it like more watered down. Or what you can do is just use clear gesso and white gesso both, okay? So I'm going to put the clear gesso on top of the napkin. Carefully. I'm not being as careful and I'm worried it will actually rip even though it's sealed. So I have to be a bit more careful. Okay. Okay, so this is basically the clear gesso, which will dry like that. Will dry clear, I mean. Yeah, I'm sure it's frustrating. I know Nunu is also trying to move into her new house, and they're not, and it's a brand new house, not like somebody else is there. And basically, like, she's having such issues, and she can't move. She's been waiting for almost 2 months. Okay, with the white gesso, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically add it to the background, and I'm also going to use it here to kind of cover the area where the edges is, the area where the napkin edge is. And then at the same time, I'm going to pull it up. This gesso is a little bit dry, so I'm going to add a little bit of water just to do that, and just to help it be more smooth. So it really helps that way, because you can then cover the edges of the napkin and everything looks the same. This is especially helpful if you're using paper and not a napkin, because paper will show more than a napkin. So that helps in terms of hiding that. And the only reason I'm adding water is because my gesso is really dried up and I am trying to revive it. But usually the gesso shouldn't be this dry, but I think I left it in the air a little bit. So that's why. So that's a good way to do, is to make it smooth, is to add a little bit of water. So it's a nice trick. And I'm also hiding some of the the pink parts from the other side of the page that kind of got mixed up there. Am I still in frame? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so let me continue adding some white gesso. And I'm covering the whole page with gesso because I'm going to be adding some of the magicals on this, and I want to make sure that they run smoothly and they don't soak up into the page. These pages from this Dina Wakley media book are quite thick, and they are, how do you call this? They kind of like tend to, I want to put this here. They kind of tend to soak up anything that is water-based. So I'm really trying to not add too much of it. I also like that the gesso gives you a really cool texture. So that's another bonus there. Now let's do the other side. You guys have been doing some amazing projects. I'm so impressed with you guys, really. Like every time you post something in the group, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just did that. Like, that's amazing. Like almost like just such a beautiful, such beautiful projects. I mean, throughout the months. That I don't mean just generally, just recently. I just mean in general. Like you guys did like really, really amazing projects. I'm really impressed. And sometimes I love the ideas that you guys come up with. Like, you know, they're kind of like more than, you know, kind of like ideas that I would have maybe not thought of. And I'm impressed that you guys think of them, you know. It's really impressive. And I'm just like, I guess, like so excited. I get so excited. I'm so proud of you guys, and also so thankful that you guys come every time I have a show, even if it's just the two of you. But I know other people watch it afterwards, so it's really important for me to show what we can do with it. So yeah. Okay, I'm almost going to finish this, and then we're going to do the fun part, which is the drawing part. So I have a thick gesso. So, okay. So I think I have all the gesso done. Or maybe here at the edges as well. I don't have it. Yay. I'm excited because now it's my favorite part, but I have to dry. So I'm going to dry. Oh, I should not. Before I draw, actually, I'm going to put some blue in the background. So that will be the next step. So let's dry it up. And oh, I know. I just read your comment, Elaine, but you know I love trees. Yes, I do. I love trees. I really, really love trees. It's insane. I mean, I also really, really love butterflies. Here, you see as it's drying, the clear gesso really hides, I mean, not hides, shows what's underneath it. It doesn't dry white. Okay, you guys are still there, right? But you guys haven't said anything in a while. Okay, I just want to check that you guys are still there. Oh, there you go. Nearly caught up. Awesome, awesome. That's good. No rush. We're not in any rush. Oh, I just want to make sure that everything is dry because when I add the watercolors, I don't want it to. Yeah. Wet. It's dry on this side, wet here. Okay. Okay, so I think I used this Tiffany's blue, but truthfully, any color would go in this situation. It doesn't really matter, but I think blue looks good in the background. Obviously, it makes it look like a sky. So that's why. And let me just, where is my water? Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is why I like oh, maybe I should have sealed this more. Okay. Why I like adding the gesso, because what happens is that it creates these really cool unexpected textures. I just want to make sure it's not kind of leaking everywhere. Maybe a little bit. And I just basically painted the blue. It didn't really matter. It was more like just an accent color. And you can use watercolors or sprays. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it's just use color that you love. You don't have to always use the colors that I use. This is why I want to encourage people to kind of use colors that they love to use. Yeah, this blue is really pretty. I still think I've used it that much, but when I took it, I'm like, oh, this is pretty. Mm-hmm. And yeah. And I just like being like very, not rough with it, but kind of like messy all over the place. Like it doesn't have to be exact because there's so much texture in the background from the napkin and from the gesso that it really like doesn't really matter. And what I love about the magicals specifically is that they have so much like text, so much color in them. You don't have to like use that much of them. Yeah, now let's do the other side. I guess I should have not, I didn't have to cover these leaves. I could have like kind of extended them. I don't know why I did that. I can maybe play around with that after. We'll see. Let's add some water. So you can just either add the water here or use a palette. And like, for example, here, I have a palette and you could just make some powder and some color here. This is from another project that I was doing. Doesn't matter if you go in the lines or something, you don't have to worry about that. As you can see, I'm covering things. You can always remove it. I mean, it's okay if it goes on the actual pages. Now what I'm going to show you is how to create these beautiful trees. If you don't have trees in your background, look, see, I already had these, so I could like kind of draw them, but it's not necessary. You're going to see how I'm going to create more of them, and the lines are not even there because you can just be like, you know, create your own things with it. Okay. Yeah, I love this blue. It's so pretty. And it kind of looks like a sky too, if you think about it. There we go. Now we have it in blue and it kind of has like clouds and other things. It's really, really pretty. Okay, let me close the blue before I spill it out. And oh, actually before, I keep on saying oh, but then I wanted to paint also the butterflies, the other butterflies, the white ones. I ended up painting them in purple, but obviously any color would go. Any color is good. And I am going to do this first because before I made the mistake of putting the black first when I was drawing, and that was a mistake because I ended up getting it everywhere. So if you can avoid doing that, that's best. Always put the darkest part in the center and let the watercolors kind of spill out. So it gives it that shadow effect. So pretty. And what purple is this? Sorry, I want to tell you. It's called, oh, Lara's Wild Mauve. Mauve. Mauve? I don't know what that is. Thought it was a color, but it's, yeah. There we go. Let me do the other side. So I really wanted to keep it simple today. I mean, as simple as possible. Sometimes simple is good. Even though we want to do these complicated projects, I feel like even just doing something that is just simple, that connects us to something that we love to do, I really feel is so satisfying. It really is so fulfilling for me to just do stuff that is not like, doesn't have to be this like huge, complicated piece to make it to be creative, if that makes sense. So yeah, I want to add, oh wait, let me finish the purple first. Okay, good, my internet is working well today. Jinx it, but I'm just saying. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I just want to add a little bit of blue here. I just realized I missed some spots. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me dry it up. Because it really looks, I love that purple and how it looks. Okay, just a little bit darker here. Okay. Gosh. Okay, so let me dry this up and then we're going to do the next step, which is the drawing. I guess I could add some green as well. Hold on. Before I do that, every time I stop myself. A second. Okay, so actually before I do that, I want to add some green onto these because I didn't do it for the other one, but I guess I should have maybe. Some of these stalks that I have no color. So you can color basically all of them. This might not be the right tone of green, but that's okay. Still looks nice. There we go. Now let's do the other side. Yeah, I think it does. You're right. It does look soft and feminine, but that's just nature in general, right? Like we always refer to nature in the feminine preposition, or it's called. Like we always feel that nature in general, our butterflies are always like in female form. So that makes sense in that regard, I guess. Okay. There we go. Now we're really like, it really looks like more completed. I think like more complete, I meant to say. The other one, I kind of like just did the stalks and I didn't like think of the rest. Okay. So for the next step, I'm going to be using my Stabilo pencil. Somehow I cannot find the sharpener that goes with this one. It disappeared. Not sure where it went. So I haven't been able to sharpen them. Maybe it fell somewhere, who knows. Okay, so I think this is good because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be extending some of this. So here I can see that there was like a branch that kind of split this way. So I want to, now when you're making these, it's really important not to do like straight lines. You kind of move your hands like a little bit, and it's sometimes even good to like reach here and then split up in a different direction. Because if you look at branches, they're never straight. So that's the key to making like these really cool branches, is that they're never really like as straight as you think they might be. Okay. So even if you make a mistake, you can erase, right? Like this is like, it's kind of like a pencil. Like here, for example, I wanted to make another line going this way. Oops, I just realized I'm not in focus. And maybe I want this branch to be a bit thicker now. It doesn't have to be so thin. Same with here. So this comes and what's nice about them is that if they can get intertwined, it's even better. So it's not really hard to do this, but it is a little bit of planning of where you're going to kind of do this. And even with that, this one was too straight. But what I like about this, what I like about the Stabilo pencil is that it kind of, you can erase with it, and it also creates like a nice watery outline. You'll see that in a second. And you can like kind of, if you have 2 pages, they could go into a different page, right? They can go. Maybe. Okay. And there's no mistakes really here. You can just like, just erase. I mean, I think it erases with an eraser, or you can just remove it with some water. Oops, like here, even if I make a mistake, I know that I can redo this part, okay? Okay, now here. So this is kind of like a thicker branch. Yeah, that's. Okay, so I'm just concentrating on drawing. There we go. So now we have these branches going in all directions, and we can even make those birch mark trees. So the way the birch marks on the marks on the birch tree. So the way I looked at it, it's like it has like kind of like 3, and then up and down it has 2, kind of like this. Similar to that. So we can spend the time doing that, right? Like making the actual markings. And of course I will do that now. I mean, they don't have to be perfect. It's we know the idea is that, and if it's not looking exactly like a birch tree, does it really matter? Not really, because we just want to create in our journals, and that's what's important. To practice these, to practice and to, become like more comfortable with what we're doing. So it doesn't really matter if you're not like getting everything exact, It's just a matter of becoming more comfortable with what you're doing, more confident, and just, creating from your heart. And if you don't want to make birch trees, you want to make a different type of tree, more than merrier, Be spontaneous, be confident in what you love, and you don't have to like do anything that you don't like. If that makes sense. That's basically like always my message. I want you to kind of be your own person. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, I know with you two, with the ones that you guys, you're my members, I'm not preaching to the choir. I know that you guys know this, but I always want to remind you, because you know what? Sometimes we are our own worst critics. Truthfully, we are. And it's just a matter of just kind of like making an effort to just enjoying the process. Okay, I'm running out of thing. I want to grab my other pencil. I have a few of them until I find where my sharpener is. It's one of those simple small sharpeners, like the silver ones. It's the only ones that work on the Stabilo, but I can't seem to find it. And I haven't been able to sharpen all my Stabilos because of it. Okay. Oops. I guess the most like it takes taking is just basically making these markings. It's taking the longest. And you don't have to make as many branches also. Like I just went a bit overboard on the branches because I like my pages full, but if you just want a few branches, you can just do that, right? So, okay, let's see if I can find another Stabilo that is sharpened. God bless you. Oh, I don't know. Okay, I guess not. I'm gonna have to like deal with the ones that are not sharp. I'm thinking to do a before I just went and sprayed this, but I'm thinking I'm gonna do something because I actually want to turn, I'm gonna go a bit further and actually turn the branches green. So they're not technically birch, which birch is not, is basically white, but it doesn't matter. It's just the idea. I'm gonna turn these green. And I think what's gonna happen is that, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe not. I don't even know why I did some of these green, but let's see what happens if I add a little bit of green. Okay. I'm trying to go faster now. Okay, let's see what happens. So let's see what happens if I do the green thing. I think I'm actually going to make a little bit of a, put a little bit of green here. Make a little concoction for myself. Okay. Oh, it's leaking too much. Hold on. So can you see? Yeah. So what this will do is it will activate the black a little bit, but not too much. Or maybe it will. So making it a little bit different than the other one. The other one I just kind of sprayed water, but this one actually is going to get like those shadows with the green. So the black helps, the black pencil, the one that the Stabilo, what it's doing is that it's kind of giving those shadows to the green itself. Let's add a little bit more water. That makes sense. And I'm going out the lines. Why? So this one will be a little bit different. I like being a little bit different. But if you don't want to color these green, you can just leave them in white and make them really look like birch trees. It's up to you. They kind of more look like branches now than birch branches, because I think birch is white. But that's okay. It's my own interpretation of what I feel is looks good on my page, and I don't mind that it looks different. Yes. I bought myself actually a ceramic palette, and I have to say I understand now why everybody likes it so much. It makes a huge difference on the way you paint with watercolors. I mean, these are basically essentially watercolors. And they're just beautiful. This is actually really cool. I really love the green. I think I might want to do these leaves here, the ones that were there before. So a little bit of gold here. Okay. How's it going, everyone? Oh, thanks, Elaine. So it's easier than you think. Seriously, like the branches are in all directions. The only thing I was thinking is just not to overlap them too much. And it's basically like the wigglier your finger is, your hand is, the better, almost like to say. Like the more wiggly your hands becomes, the better. And like the straighter it is, like it's almost like, let's not have a straight line, let's have a wiggly line. And that is, you know, like what they say in kindergarten, draw a straight line. This is exact opposite. And it's so freeing that you don't have to kind of, you know, try to just conform to the straight line. Yeah, I like this a lot. What I'm going to do is, because these are like, these leaves are weird like this, is I'm going to kind of maybe draw them. Okay. Okay, where else am I missing? Some green. And now it's basically just, now if you, I forgot to say something, if both your butterflies are cut out from the internet and they're both white, just color them whatever color you love, right? Like it doesn't really matter. You're taking your butterfly bled out. What does that mean? Like on the edges, do you mean, Leanne? So let me see if I can help you with that. Do you mean at the edges or like it actually crumbled? So tell me what happened while I find a quote for this. So then I can maybe help you figure out how to fix it. So one of the things you can do if it bled out outside, okay, so then you can easily fix that. Let it dry, dry it up. And then what you can do is take the white gesso again, and with a small paintbrush, just cover the area. So basically you're gonna go with a small paintbrush with some white gesso. And let me just, this is not even a small paintbrush, but you can take the white gesso, add it around wherever you see. I have it bleeding out here too. Okay, and maybe you added too much, it doesn't matter. And if you're painting both butterflies, they might both bleed, right? Because you might be painting this one came like that was from the napkin, but you might be painting both if you printed it out. So the best way to do is to actually, you could cover it up with gesso, and I'll show you here, for example. You see how like there is like a fuchsia color that I don't want there? You could, hold on, if I can open the gesso. You could take the gesso and cover it up, like just dab it. You can dab the bleed. Okay. And then once you're done dabbing it, so for example, anything you want to hide, you can. So once you're done dabbing, you see here it bled as well. And I didn't care that it bled, but I want to show you that you can fix it, okay? So once you're finished, you see I covered this area. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to dry the gesso again, make sure that it's really dry. So again, I'm going to go back to this. Hold on. And make sure that it's dry. So once it's dry, then you can go back with whatever color you use in the background. In this case, I use blue. And I can just put a little bit of blue in the edges. That's basically like how to fix anything. Gesso is the magical fixer-upper. So then I can just take a little paintbrush. Where is it? Where was my little paintbrush? Was it this one? Make sure. No, this one has black on it. Okay, I'll take a new one. Okay, so I'll take a new one. And I can just, oops, maybe add a little bit of water here. Okay, so actually, I added water like this, but maybe this might not be the solution, especially if you're very close to the butterfly. What I would suggest is take a palette like what I did here, okay? And make yourself a little bit of blue in one of these containers. or even on your mat, and then use it as a brush, as a paint, I meant to say. So for example, I have some blue, I'm going to dip, and I'm going to fix any mistakes that I don't like. That way, you're not bleeding again. It's not going to bleed on you again. And I can go back into any mistakes. And make sure you, when you're doing this, you kind of let it bleed out. I mean, you know what I mean? Like spread out, because otherwise, if not, you're going to get these really weird marks there. They're going to be all blue in the middle. And that's not what you want. So you can just go in around, and if you missed any places, which I did, for example, here, I can easily just add the blue or whatever color that you made a mistake on. Even if you made a mistake on the butterfly itself, you could cover it with white gesso and then fix it. So it's really, really easy. You don't have to stress over that. Many times things can be fixed. Yes, there are times where we cannot fix something, but there are times that we can fix things and it's not, and we shouldn't feel stressed about it. So it's good. You see, now it's fixed. It doesn't look like it even bled there, and that's okay. Especially when you're working with watercolors. I mean, bleeding is nice in a way, but it's not like, it gives you a really nice effect, but I understand you don't want it so much. So it could be that you added extra water that maybe you didn't have to, but either way, you can always fix it. And that's what I like about it. That you can easily fix things, especially water-based things. Does that make sense? Yeah, so you need to definitely dry the first. So the only reason I was able to use gesso here is because my background was dry. So what I would just suggest to do is heat set it. Heat set your butterfly really, really well. Like the edges, make sure it's very dry. And once it's dry, you can fix the edges. Take white and kind of go around it. I mean, it is a process, and we learn from those mistakes that maybe we add, it could be that you added too much water. It could be not. It could be that just it bled, and it doesn't matter. But I know that you will still be able to fix it. It's not unfixable, if that makes sense. So yeah, don't give up on this one, because it's just water-based and you can just go. So let's see. Let's find some really nice let's see what I want to get a really nice quote. I like this one. Don't be afraid of being a beginner. Yeah, I actually you know what, to tell you the truth, this is true. Don't be afraid of being a beginner. I'm a beginner in so many different things. And it might seem odd, but I just tried recently. Oh, that's good. Excellent that you got it in yellow. I find that, sorry, I've actually been a beginner recently in a few things that I've been trying out. And I feel that it's a good message even for me, because I feel we're always so afraid to try something because we're afraid that we're going to mess it up. And I just went through this in something that I was trying, and it really is a good reminder. I'm going to highlight it. Hold on, I want to make sure this doesn't bleed this sometimes. Oh, so you got the butterfly napkins? That's nice. Yellow is good. I love yellow. There we go. And if we can journal, you could journal. I could journal on the edges, of the trees if you really want to. I didn't journal in the other one because I just wanted to create something pretty. But it is true, not being afraid of being a beginner and just always trying, So you can write on the trees. It would look really nice. can't. I really love writing on the trees, and that would be a good journaling exercise to do, like, you know. I just want to make sure I'm not smudging it. And the funny thing, sometimes when I do this, I actually don't even journal in a row. Like, I'll start a sentence and then I'll go over here and journal on this side. And I just really, you know what? So I'll tell you something about the splatters. So she's like, Elaine is asking if I'm going to add splatters. So I was going to add splatters in the other one. Let me show you. I tried adding splatters over here. I don't know if you can tell. But I really, you see, and here these birch trees, we stayed white, and I just didn't even bother painting them in green, which I could go back and do. But I really felt for the first time that it didn't need splatters. I tried the splatters and they did not look nice, so I ended up removing them because they were water-based. I felt like almost like it was a painting and the splatters were not part of it. And I just said, you know what? No splatters today, which was very surprising because I always add splatters to everything. But this is no splatters. And I could rate that. No splatters. You know, that's something, no splatters. I like journaling things that I'm thinking about on the spot. Today I had like an interesting conversation with somebody, and that was just something that, you know, and just to include things on thoughts that you have during the day. It doesn't have to be something related to this art journal per se, but just like things that are important to you, and just put them on there because letting them out helps. And that's what I feel. I really want to write something here, but I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Let's see, where do I want the other words? So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. How do I feel around nature? How I feel when I walk around. So this is walking. This morning, there was such a fog everywhere. I tried to go and film it. It was really nice. I actually haven't checked to see if I filmed it properly or not. I just went to the pond nearby and filmed the fog. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on and write as much as I can. I could also, one more thing you can do is like, I can use this pen. I just want to maybe outline the butterflies if you want to. You can, to just make them kind of pop up a little bit more. That's possible too. You could do this also with Stabilo marker. I forgot. I think I did it in the other one. It just makes it a bit stand out a little bit more. But it's not necessary. I mean, like, truthfully, it looks. I didn't go over the lines as much here. I think in the other one, as I said, I used the white gesso, and that's why I think some of the lines of the butterflies were hidden. In this case, I was a little bit more careful. I knew what mistakes I had made, and I did not make the same mistakes in this one, which was too much white gesso in certain areas. And so this is how it is. Like, I learned from my own mistakes too, because I'm trying it just as much as you are. I might know like some of the steps, but I'm truly just like trying it the same as everyone else. And that's what's the beauty about it. Like, we all kind of learn from each other. Because I'll see somebody else do something and I'm like, oh, I wonder how they're doing it. Oh, that's good that you're making it. We haven't had a lockdown, but the numbers are rising here, so you never know what's going to happen. So I really like actually the one with the green much more than the one with the white. I guess you just never know what you're gonna create. I really like this one. So, and this pen, by the way, it's really good. I don't know. I have to see. I think it's one of those regular pens. It's a big pen, but it's really good. I don't even know. It's just like inky, and it's really nice to go on mixed media. So, oh wow, I did it quickly today. I don't know how, but I just really wanted to show you a quick, easy way to do things that you can make it really look as if it's professional. I mean, it might not be like Picasso, but it's happy for what I like it, you know, like I just want to kind of do it for what I love. So this is how I like it and how I want to learn how to create my own stuff. And that's okay, you know, and I think like we kind of all learn our own ways to you know, create. And yeah, I do hope, Leanne, that you guys don't have too long of a lockdown, because you guys were the country that basically barely had anything. So, oh no, not you. I'm thinking of Denise, which is New Zealand. You're in the UK. So yeah, you guys have it bad. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm so glad you guys came today. I'm very, very grateful. And for all of you that are watching later, if you made it all the way to the end and you create, please post it. And you know what I realized, something that I realized recently, is that I'm not putting dates on things. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the date today, September 24th and 20. Because I have realized I'm not putting dates on anything, and then I end up not remembering when things are. This is also, I'm going to put September 24th. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I love the green trees too, even if they're not birch. I actually like them more than the white. It gives them more color, and I love color. So thank you, Elaine and Leanne, and everybody else who's like a member and watching it later. I really appreciate you guys. You know that, and I can't wait to see your projects. I know, Elaine, we're gonna have to wait until you move into your new place to do that. Too bad you couldn't keep like even a little small journal and some watercolors to just do like a little bit, and paintbrushes and maybe one pencil or something. That would have been like a travel little kit that you could just take in your backpack afterwards. But anyways, thank you so much. Love you guys. And see you very soon. 2 weeks from now, I'll have another class. Don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with something. Thank you so much, everyone. Love you guys. Bye.